Lovely. Thank you for joining us. So this is the public meeting that we have in order to update the local community primarily, or anyone else with an interest in Bagley Hall, on anything the committee are aware of, or anything that we've been doing over the last few months. We're obviously all aware of the potential sale, the marketing of the sale of Bagley Hall, and we'll come to that shortly with what update we have. Just by way of introductions initially, I'm John Wood. I'm actually the secretary of the group, but I'm standing in to chair the meeting tonight. Unfortunately, Libby's had a family emergency, and David, who's the normal vice chair, is not with us. Should we go on the line?
Great. Yeah, Matthew Williams. I'm a building surveyor in my day-to-day work and committee member of Friends of Bagley Hall.
I thought he was going to say he was a builder then. I'm Charlene, and I'm probably the newest member of the committee in recent months. I'm hoping to get my hands on the social media at some point. To just engage a bit more and share what the hall has done and will be doing, or hope to do in future. Just give a bit of communication between us and yourselves.
I'm Paige. I'm the heritage coordinator of the group. I've been involved since the very start of the group and help out raising awareness, attending events, and help out with the hall generally.
Brilliant. Thank you. So the last meeting we had, the main topic of conversation was the hall. We have some minutes for that, which we put on the website, and we'll send around in the email following this meeting. But the discussion was largely about the community's role, or how much control or say the community have in Historic England's recent marketing of the leasehold or freehold for sale. And I think one of the main things that came out of that was the conclusion that some sort of leasehold arrangement would be by far better for the local community, for everyone's interest in the hall, really, so that ultimately the freehold remains with Historic England, who are central government body, and we have fed that back to them. We've had limited communication from them since our last meeting. We have been told that there were four kind of valid proposals regarding what we don't know whether they're freehold or leasehold proposals regarding the purchase. We've been told that they were asked for further information, and the deadline for the further information was actually only a couple of weeks ago. I think they were given a couple of months, partly because of it running over the summer, I think. So in terms of actual actions, not been a lot of an update. We did press in the last few weeks to see whether there was more information that we hadn't seen, or that any more details that could be shared. But because it's a live tender process, and we're an external party, we've really not been told very much. And when I suppose we kind of can't be until they've given everyone the opportunity to submit all of the information that's been asked for. So really the update is that there are these kind of valid proposals, but that are being weighed up, and there's no guarantee that any one of them will be considered. It could be that all four could be considered viable, and we don't really know how that assessment will be made until we're let into that conversation. The financial update, we can possibly come back to sort of future of the hall if there's any questions at the point it is on the agenda. That was just a bit of an update on the topics of discussion from the last time. by way of a financial update, we have recently applied for and been awarded a grant by Auto Trader, which it's the first funding that we've had since we got some funding from Wythenshawe Community Housing Group in 2020, I think it was, and partly because of the timing of that, and we all know what happened in 2020. That money's actually sustained us for 4 years. So we've always said we don't need a huge amount of money to sustain the group, but it does cover us to be able to have public events and things like that, just in terms of insurances and the general web and sort of running costs of the group that way. So the recent funding is great and maybe allows us to invest a little bit more in promoting the hall, making sure people are aware that it's there and there's stuff going on. But really it's there to sustain the group, so that the Friends of Baguley Hall as an organisation can exist and be there to represent the community's voice as and when it's needed, which is what we've kind of the role that we've seen ourselves fall into recently in particular. So I guess I think that's kind of the update, I think, in headline terms.
I think just one thing to add in terms of our interactions with Historic England is that we have, within the bounds of maintaining the relationship, we have pushed them quite hard in terms of providing some more information. And I think, understandably, they want to stick with the confidentiality of the tender process, but we have said that there's likely to be some concern unless we hear something soon. We've made that very clear. So.
Sorry, we're just trying to make sure that we capture sound and vision on the video for anyone that can't be here. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if there's any questions or any other business that anyone wants to bring up.
I didn't have any by email, but
I explore as well.
May decision tell you, tell you.
Not if what we're led to believe is true. I think I can totally seems like it's slow moving, and it is slow moving. But the nature of I mean, it's grade one listed. It's been there for 700 years. They wouldn't rush any decisions. Any decision making that happens. I suspect we will get an update with, I suppose, inviting a comment on preferred bidders, maybe. I don't know if they would maybe shortlist and share a couple with us, or whether they might have one preference that they would share with us for our input. I think that maybe is representative of a range of how meaningful they might see our input being, whether it's considered quite open or whether it's we've almost made this decision. Have you got anything to say about it? I like to think the former.
Yeah, I do hope so.
Things have, the communication has seemed more like that historically.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
but we are about the lack of communication.
Yeah. I think probably all I'd add to that is just that we've made it very clear to them in the past that when it historically comes to a proposal, a specific proposal that Historic England would proceed with, that we would want to have an opportunity to scrutinise in detail the actual agreement on which ownership occupation freehold of the property is transferred, building, because that's what will actually govern transfer happens. Building, longest that's what in conversation in those meetings, they were very receptive to that. But obviously, the problem is that we don't have anything to hold with. In that sense, we're waiting on a goodwill basis to hear further. So.
it's hard to say without seeing the offers. They could all be horrific. I mean, if they were all horrific, I would hope that Historic England would say no to them all. I don't think it's a done deal that the whole will be changing hands. The Historic England has got a very clear remit to protect that building, and they almost have like a double remit where they own it and they also are the duty holder at government level. And so I would really like to think that they wouldn't take a bad offer seriously. So the fact that there are 4 that they consider to be possible suggests that they're good ones. We know, I didn't say this in terms of we don't know this through official channels, but it's clear from conversations online that one of the 4 proposals is an American individual who appears to have links with the Hall, or certainly claims to have links with the Hall through his heritage, and he would like to invest in the Hall and is very keen to see a community element to the management of that. What that looks like and how economically viable it is, I don't know.
Let's watch the YouTube on YouTube.
Yeah.
It seems like any dollars.
Yeah. More or less answer the issue. How desperate the Historic England it's totally inappropriate. Being a civil servant experience takes precedence.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if they went for something totally inappropriate, but it's a risk of that we're obviously trying to but yeah, I would be surprised for something that was obviously inappropriate. But I think a big part of our job is to be critically minded about proposals which might seem promising, to go through the small print of the longer term implications.
I think a source of clues as to how desperate they are, because we don't know really. They obviously are keen to get rid of the Hall from their overheads, annual overheads. But they have invested a lot in it as well. They've not just tried to dispose of it. They've spent, I can't remember how much it was that they spent. Can you remember the figure? I don't know.
200,000 plus, I think.
Yeah. In conservation repairs, security upgrades,
flooring, scaffolding.
yeah, and things like fire detection, which has pragmatic reasons why they've invested in that at that particular time. But yeah, they've invested a lot of money in it, so that suggests that they don't intend for it to be mothballed or boarded up for another 50 years.
I think it's more a matter of policy, because when English was split into English heritage, business attraction part, and historic England, the remit of historic very much didn't include owning and managing buildings. So I think it's just from a policy perspective, they don't want to be buildings as such, because that's English heritage's role, but English heritage aren't able to take it on ticketed visitor attraction, which is something else we quite hard as to why that wasn't the case. But I think by the time it comes to Historic England couldn't really answer that question, because they've parted ways and got into separate organisations. So.
Yeah, I think it's right for us to all have a little bit of a healthy scepticism. Sorry, just seeing someone trying to join the call. Let them in. Can't see them now. Never mind. I think it's right for us all to have healthy scepticism of the process, but at the same time, I mean, I want to say those kind of our predecessors have been breathing down their neck for the last 10 years because it's been sitting there and not doing anything. And really marketing for lease or sale is the only thing they can do to bring you. Well, yeah, I think it's fair to say that's the only thing they could do to bring you used to it. If they were going to, even in the most optimistic scenario, that they were going to open it as a ticketed venue or some kind of public facility, it wouldn't be Historic England that would do that, would it?
No, that's that dilemma.
Yeah, so it would have to change hands for that to happen. So I suppose as much as it's good for us all to be slightly sceptical and careful, there's also not really any indication of problem either in the fact that they're marketing it. So yeah, I think for me the situation's not changed a huge deal, which is possibly a bit frustrating, but not anything to deeply concern me just yet. We understand, I think, please correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone's read anything that contradicts what I say, but what I understand to be the case, I think, is that they have withdrawn physical in-person security, but they have invested a lot in remote monitoring. And so there is, surveillance security that has the site under quite tight controls. I think there were some comments on a Facebook page about someone inside the grounds. I don't know whether that was true. It might well be true, and it might be that there's a window when there was switching systems that there was no surveillance. How someone knew that and went in the grounds at the right time is a bit beyond me. I don't know whether that's true or likely to be true or just a complete fluke. But as I understand it now, the security system is in place and working properly.
Wasn't it a security person?
Yeah, the story that came out of
it was actually
it was a security person.
Well,
It was a cat.
Than the Facebook deal that I saw.
But there was some confusion around the security company's responsibility for the site, I think. Then after some concern expressed about by the security company tightened up procedures.
So it's as far as we understand, the situation has really changed in terms of the management of the hall, but Historic England is still taking good care of it. I mean, even better care, having invested the money in roof repairs and things like that they have. We're keen to get an update, but that's our only frustration, really concern, I don't think.
You mentioned I looked on the website where you got the biggest shield of all. Is it worth doing something small?
That would be good. Yeah, we've always had the ambition to improve all of our web stuff and paper distribution. It's always been a question of resourcing the people power, because we all have been it's been the same lineup more or less. Charlie's joined us, but since 2018 or whatever it was that we've been doing it since. And I mean, it's not because we're not open to people joining the group, but there's just been a small group of us that have just known that there's value in holding the group together. And to be honest, we've been stretched to even hold that together in the past. But I think that what has come out of the marketing of the whole that's a really positive thing is that it's really put the whole back in the forefront of everyone's minds. And I think that's partly because people can see things changing, can imagine things changing with the whole, and everyone's now keen to make sure that's a positive change, which is really good. So maybe that will lead to a sort of lease of life for the group and yeah, I mean, the group, not as us, but as a community, really, that most of us are not locals, really, locals. And so it would only be right for more community voices in the group as well in the not too distant future, I'd hope.
I think just one other thing to add to that. I think obviously we're in this sort of slightly odd, prolonged waiting phase. But I think it's just worth emphasising the value in continuing to turn up from a democratic perspective, because obviously you've got a government agency, and there's nothing wrong with that. Looking after the hall, have a some form of consistent sort of citizen-side engagement, which is what we're trying to do. I think just provides, you know, a critical friend of what they're doing, and it demonstrates to them that there is interest and that people do care about building. I think there's a sort of a hidden value turning up to the extent we can. I mean,
you, Adam, mindful that we've talked quite a lot, but if there's anything that's, that you want to jump in with, please do. Okay, well, I think what we might wrap up the formal bit of the meeting, but a few of us might hang around for a chat, and it would be great to.
Yeah. Just so, you know, there's not as many people here.
Yeah.
Allows me to play along with.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us didn't know. We used to put notices on the fence. On the fence outside the hall.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
About it, on that.
Yeah, no, that's true. To be honest, we left it quite late and tried to do it, but we were all running around with full-time jobs and everything else. But and yeah, we sort of tried to, but it was a last-minute scurry, and it ended up not happening this time. And we appreciate that makes a big difference.
Will you
to
be
people.
Outside, you know, just put it on
Meeting
the wall.
dates.
Yeah.
That'd be a good idea, actually. If
rather
we
than
could
do it
just
every month.
put the actual
Put
meeting
whole
dates
dates,
somewhere that
yeah,
people can
dates
see them.
outside,
Yeah.
You could ask Spark to put notice on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Be a bit, go on. Just call green anymore. Even go with everything as well. Wider. That's all in. Oh, is it? Yeah. Still needs to me. Don't know about it.
Still call it green.
Brilliant. No, that's a really good point. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's true. We should make sure that those little
All the shops.
bits of housekeeping are kept up. Yeah.